Hi everyone, FPL Matt Day here. Welcome. It is my Game Week 18 live deadline stream for the Fantasy Premier League. Unbelievable, wasn't it? Game Week 17 last week. After the long wait from the World Cup, we're back now for Game Week 18 so quickly. We've also got Game Week 19 around the corner. So much to discuss in this podcast. We're obviously about 5 hours until deadline as well. So, tonight's going to be a bit of the usual, go through the fixtures, best players from each one, differentials, captains, and then Q&A with the audience. So if you are tuning in, get your questions in now in the comments, all ready for this game week. Just before I get into it, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss an upload. I am in a different location. So for those that are regular watchers of the podcast, I'm actually in a different state in Australia. So I'm now in Western Australia. So I'm 3 hours behind the time that I would normally be in Melbourne. And I'm in a different room. So I've got some of my football memorabilia and stuff in the background. So a bit different to where I am in Melbourne. I'm in Western Australia now. So it's going to be good for these podcasts because I'm now able to stream later on and being closer to the deadline. If I was in Melbourne now, I'd probably be asleep in bed because there is a 3 hour time difference between the two locations. But look, let's bring up some comments first before I go straight into the share screen. So onto the ball with the Let's Go. Always a great supporter of this channel. Go and check them out. If you haven't done already, hit subscribe on there. Big Liverpool fan and really, really good channel. And also, as always, Football Forever with the comments. Another channel that is worth subscribing to. A bit more general football from both of them, not so much the fantasy content. So it's actually good if you want some different football content. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's share screen. Let's go into this week's fixtures, pick a player from each fixture. And then once I've done that, like I said, I'll go through the differentials, captains, player picks, and then any questions that come in throughout the pod. So, continue to get your questions in. Big game week. Obviously, I did the Reece James replacements video as well, so you can go check that out on the channel. I'll be talking about a couple of those replacements tonight anyway. Go and check that video out if you haven't done. But let's share screen, I'll bring up a comment as well. It's just coming from Matt Cowling as well in the comments. Even Matt thinking a differential captain this game week. These are the times to pick differential captain. So if you are going to do it, this is the time to do it because there's obviously going to be a lot of players rotated, rested, in and out of the team. So if you're going to go against Haaland, it's probably not the worst time to do it within this next couple of games. Obviously, City have got a pretty good fixture this week against Everton, which we'll go through in a second. And then after that, they've got Chelsea away. So you probably expect City to hope to get the game won after about 60 minutes. And then Haaland will likely come off as a sub ready for the Chelsea game anyway. So could be a good week to do a differential captain. I know some people that went for Rashford last week, paid off. He scored one more point than Haaland. But let's get straight into the fixtures. First game, West Ham versus Brentford is the early game. As you can see at the top there, that is the first game on. So it's a Friday night kickoff in England. So that's a bit of a London derby. It's a huge game as well for West Ham. Right near the bottom of the table. And they've lost 10 games this season. Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. I'm going to go with 1-1. I think Brentford will scrape a draw in this one. They're obviously a good side as well. And I think the FPL pick will have to be Ivan Toney. Was brilliant against Spurs last week. Takes pens and obviously did score in that game as well. And he had an offside goal, which was marginal. So he was close to a double-digit haul in that one. I think he scores again in this game. So for me, West Ham 1, Brentford 1, and I think Toney will get the goal. Welcome to the stream, Bob. I've just seen your comment come in about starting Cucurella, Shaw, Mount, or White, and having to choose two. So I'll be going through some Q&A at the end of the stream as well, and I will be able to go through that question and help you as much as I can. And then the next fixture we've got there, Liverpool versus Leicester. That's another Friday night game in England. Kicks off 15 minutes after the West Ham Brentford game. Do have an interesting comment here from Matt. Cowling early Liverpool Football Club team leak. So they've got Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Matip, Robertson, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, Salah, Nunez, and Oxlade-Chamberlain. So that looks unchanged from the game against Villa last weekend. So good to know if you do own these Liverpool assets that they're not being rotated. They are starting in a home game at Anfield that you would expect them to win, and I think they will win. I think Liverpool will win this game comfortably. Leicester were really poor against Newcastle, especially in that first half last week. They're unlucky in the second half, but they can capitulate. I think Liverpool will win this game at least 2-0. I'll go with 2 or 3-0. Robertson and Salah are my favourite picks from this game. I think you can't go past Salah. I can see him getting a couple of goals in this one. And as you can see there from the early team leak, he is starting. Oxlade-Chamberlain also playing. And then for those managers that are looking to bring in Robertson, he is also getting the start. So some really good information there provided. Let's go to the next game, Wolves versus Man United. I know a lot of people are looking at this one as well, with owning the likes of Luke Shaw, Rashford, and Martial. Look, Wolves don't score many goals traditionally, but they do have a new coach and scored 2 against Everton last week. Early game on the Saturday at the Molineux. I think the Wolves fans will be right up for this one as well. I'm going to go with, I can feel maybe a 2-1 to Man United or a 1-1 type of game. So let's go with 1-1. I think it'll be a draw. I think Wolves will find a way to avoid defeat. They've got this new manager bounce. But I think you can't look past Rashford still in this game. I think he'll score Manchester United's goal and it'll be a 1-1 draw. So Wolves versus Man United. I think you can still put Luke Shaw in. He does have that assist threat, and Wolves haven't scored huge amounts of goals this season, so you could still put Luke Shaw in if you're looking at doing it as a Reece James replacement, and there's probably still a chance of an assist or a clean sheet in this game anyway. And then the next one, Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace. This is another really interesting game because Crystal Palace have got, I think it's 2 players suspended currently, from the 2 red cards last week. They do have Mark Gahey coming back from suspension, but Mitchell and James Tompkins are suspended. They've also got injuries in other areas. I can see Bournemouth winning this. I think it's going to be hard for Palace to bounce back with the injuries and the players that they've got missing. Bournemouth need a win, but they do have Marcus Tavernier injured still, and they're not always the same side without him. But I think they'll win, and I'm confident that Dominic Solanke will score in this game, and he will be the biggest threat for Bournemouth, along with Billing. From Palace, you've still got the likes of Zaha, Eze, who are always very dangerous as well. But I think Bournemouth will win by 1-0, and Dominic Solanke to get the goal. And then next up there, Fulham versus Southampton. This is another big fixture for game week 18. I know a lot of people looked at the likes of Perraud, who got an own goal last week. And then now a lot of people are bringing in Mitrovic, and we're all wondering if he's going to get that yellow card. Andreas as well. I know a lot of people have got Andreas on their bench, and they want to play him in this game because it's against a Southampton side who look like they've been on the decline. But sometimes I look at these games for teams like Southampton, and they've just come off a defeat against Brighton, both 3-1, and you look at these types of games, sometimes these are the ones that Southampton win. They get the points that they need in that relegation dogfight. So I want to back Southampton. I'm going to back them. I'm going to back them to win this by 2-1. But I still think Willian is a good pick from Fulham. So I'm liking the likes of Willian and Mitrovic. But I think Saints will win. I just get this feeling they will get that new manager bounce now. I know they're awful against Brighton, but like I said, these are the games that can stir up a surprise, especially at this time of year. I think from a Southampton perspective, Che Adams and James Ward-Prowse are probably the best picks. But I'm going to go for 2-1 Southampton, which it's a shock. At this stage of the season, it's a shock if Southampton win that game. WB has just come into the comments as well, just for some asking if you should just start Ben White. I'm going to go through some questions shortly, mate. So if you stay in the stream, I'm going through some Q&A in the next sort of 10 minutes or so stay tuned. Please give the video a like and a subscribe if you are new here as well. And then next up, Manchester City versus Everton. Pep Guardiola with a number of changes against Leeds, a number of changes. They obviously ended up still winning the game. I think they'll win this game. They've obviously got one of the strongest squads in the league. I could see them winning this game by at least 3-0. I think Haaland is obviously the main pick. Outside of Haaland, potentially maybe Bernardo Silva. It's hard to really pick Foden, Grealish, Mahrez because you just don't know which ones will start. And even if they start, you don't know how many minutes they are going to get. So, yeah, tough one. But I think City will win 3-0. I think Haaland and Cancelo are the best options this week, especially Cancelo because he's been rested. But yeah, business as usual for City in that one. As for Everton, it's probably no one I'd pick this week. I wouldn't be playing Patterson either. I've had it before where I had to play Nico Williams against Man City earlier on in the season because I had no other defenders. So similar to those who have the Reece James injury and they've got Patterson as their next defensive sub. Yeah, if you can avoid playing him, I would avoid it because I remember getting, I think, a -1 from Nico Williams that night. So, but on the flip side, you'd probably rather take a -1 and take a -4 and then lose 2 points if the defender only gets 1 or 2 points anyway. So that's if you need to take a -4 to take out Reece James. Let's go on to Newcastle versus Leeds. This is another really big fixture for FPL this week because a lot of people are turning to that man, Sven Botman, who I spoke about in my Reece James replacements video. Him and Dan Burn are really good replacements for Reece James because at 4.4 million and 4.5 million, they start. Newcastle keep clean sheets. They've proven it this season. They don't lose many games. I think a lot of people will be pretty comfortable owning Almiron in this one. Leeds letting a lot of goals. I think Newcastle will win this. But again, as I mentioned in just that time of the season, rotation, injuries, festive period, these games don't always go, as planned. They're not always the one-sided affairs we expect. They can sometimes be scrappy. I think Newcastle will win though. I'll go with 2-0. Almiron is definitely the main pick for me still, along with Trippier. And I don't think you can look past bringing in one of Dan Burn or Sven Botman either. So for me, comfortable for Newcastle 2-0, and they are my favourite picks. So let's go into the Brighton versus Arsenal game. I know this game is another very big FPL fixture this week. Obviously, with a lot of people potentially turning to the likes of Ben White or Lewis Dunk, as they are a lot of people's sort of fourth defender option or fifth defender option. I think it's going to be a tough game for Arsenal, but they're just on that form. They're on that form. I know Brighton look brilliant as well, and it's hard to go against them at the moment. But I think Arsenal will nick this and they'll edge it by a 1-0. I think it'll be a very tight affair. And I can see any one of the Saka, Martinelli, Ødegaard, and Nketiah sort of combination scoring this goal. So definitely play your Arsenal players, in my opinion. I think the form they're on, it'd be silly not to back your Arsenal players. So 1-0 for me. Welcome to the stream, Quinton. Great to have you in, mate. He was actually going to join the stream tonight, but he isn't home yet. I've actually just checked my messages to confirm he's not actually home yet, so isn't able to join the stream. But go and give him a follow and a subscribe if you haven't done it already. And he thinks 1-0 Arsenal, and it's going to be tight, and Ødegaard is the pick. And yeah, I agree. It's hard to dismiss Ødegaard at the moment at his price. He's on the ball a lot. He's good from set pieces. So yeah, I think it could be 1-0 to Arsenal as well. And then we've got my team, Tottenham, against Aston Villa. Yeah, tough on this because Villa look really good against Liverpool. But on the flip side, they miss chances and they also look very vulnerable at the back. As for Spurs, you never know what you're going to get. Or actually, you do. You know you're going to get a team that doesn't start well. Will go 1-0 down or 2-0 down. And then they will start to attack with 20 or 30 minutes to go. The Spurs can attack like they did against Brentford. in that last 25 minutes from the off, then it could be a good day for Spurs, because Villa, like I mentioned, were very open against Liverpool. Yeah, it's hard to call. Good record against Villa from Tottenham in recent years. I'll back us to win, but it's not going to be easy. It'll be 2-1. And again, you can't look past Harry Kane in this one. And I think this could potentially be a chance for Son to come back and return points, because he does have a great record against Villa, as does Kane. But last season, this was the game that kind of reignited Son's scoring form. It was the reverse fixture at Villa Park, but in the Villa Park game, he did get that hat trick. So this could be the game for Son. This could be the game that he comes back, gets the goals, hits the form. But yeah, for me, you can't go past Kane. And then from Aston Villa, Watkins is looking really sharp. So again, Watkins could potentially start becoming an FPL option and asset for our teams in the foreseeable future. He was everywhere against Liverpool, and obviously got the header. Also had a disallowed goal too. So yeah, really useful player to have. And then the last game, we got the Forest versus Chelsea game. Yeah, it's a tough place to go, the City Ground. A lot of people, even myself, have backed Forest to lose most weeks, but City Ground is a tougher place to go. So, yeah, I think in this one, I still don't think Chelsea were brilliant against Bournemouth. We're still not 100% sure what they're going to do in terms of their lineup as well. But look, I'll back them to win just because they've got so much quality in the squad. So I'll say sort of 1 or 2-0, but I don't think it'll be a simple game. It could even be a 1-0. And I back Raheem Sterling this week. I think he is a really good pick. Got the assist last week. I feel like he's due a goal as well. So I've got Chelsea to win 1-0 and Raheem Sterling to get the goal in that one. So that's my favourite picks from each team, and my score predictions as well. So let me know what you think in the comments on that. I will go into some Q&A very shortly. Just before I do, let's go through my differentials for the game week. So I've got 4. So the first one is the man I just mentioned, Raheem Sterling, 4.3%, plays Forest away. I think he's due a goal. He got an assist in the last game week. Then we've got Willian from Fulham at 0.2% owned, so he's really lowly owned. He's got Southampton at home, got an assist in his last game, and he also plays twice in game week 19. So for me, I think he's a really good option in midfield, and I think you can double up on Willian and Andreas as well if you've got both. But if you don't have Andreas and you want to go different, go Willian. Still very cheap as well. And the next one, Reece James replacement, Dan Burn, 1.9%. Home to Leeds, really good Reece James replacement. Leeds are really poor at defending set pieces as well. Dan Burn's obviously about 6'7", so the chance of him scoring from a set piece then increases because Leeds are very poor at defending corners and free kicks, so they're known for it. And then my next pick, another Reece James potential replacement in Luke Shaw. There is rumours that Man United will double in game week 20, so if you get him in now, you can then get a double game week out of him in game week 20. 6.7% owned. Wolves away, very low scoring side. But Luke Shaw's also got, I think it's 6 returns in his last 7. And in a couple of those games, he's conceded goals and he's got assists in those games. So, yeah, Luke Shaw is a really, really good option. Gully Bro has just provided a comment in there, asking us which players to bench. I'm going to do my Q&A in the next couple of minutes, so keep all the questions coming in. I will answer every single question that comes in. Please like the video and subscribe if you're new here as well, and everyone get your questions in. Let's go to my captains. So Haaland, number 1. For me, I just think he will play against Everton, and it would not put it past me if he grabs another one of those 20 or 30-minute hat tricks. Just gets chances on the plate at City, and when he gets chances, he scores most of them. And Salah, number 2. I think Leicester at home, Liverpool win that game. Salah will come out with a double-digit score, in my opinion. And then Harry Kane, again, consistent point scorer, always a good option as a vice captain, third captain if you really want to captain him as well. But anyone of Salah or Kane, you could vice captain if you don't want to. You can vice captain them if you've captained Haaland and Haaland, for whatever reason, doesn't play the game. And then player pick for the week, it's got to be Mitrovic, 15-point haul. Southampton at home, he has got that booking over his head. If he avoids it, he then potentially has a double game week in game week 19. I say potentially because if he gets booked in the first game week of game week 19, he then misses that game. So, yeah, big player for in Mitrovic, and I wish I had him. I went Che Adams, don't have Mitrovic. Wish I'd just stuck with him. I would have obviously had 13 extra points because Adams only got 2, and I'd also have Mitrovic ready for this very good Southampton fixture. So that was my picks. That's my captains. We'll quickly go into some Q&A. Before I do, my transfer is going to be Zaha is coming out of my team. I know he's got the good fixture with Bournemouth. I understand he's got the good fixture at Bournemouth, and he does take pens. I had to get rid of him. I want Mason Mount, who I don't normally like for FPL. I sort of say he's a player that kind of bullies a lot of the newly promoted teams and gets big scores. But he plays Forest, and I wanted him ready for the game week 19 double as well, as he's a pretty consistent starter for Chelsea. That Zaha might punish me and he might score. And if he does, he does. But yeah, I'm confident that if Chelsea do score in that game, Mason Mount will be involved in some capacity. So if Zaha does blank, I'll be pretty happy knowing I've then got Mount ready for Nottingham Forest away. But that is the differential. The captain's a player pick, and the results and the best players from each fixture. Let's go through the questions now. So if you are tuning into the stream right now, please get your questions in right now. If you're on Twitter and you're watching this on Twitter, come into the YouTube, come into the comments, and get all your questions in ready for the game week. I'm happy to answer as many that come in and go through all of them. So let's go with the first one. Bob Gual. I'm a bit hesitant about starting Cucurella or Shaw or Mount or White, so choose 2. Ooh, that's a good one. I would probably. It's a good option to have. I'll definitely start Mount. Start the midfielder. You want to have at least one of the the midfielders who's got a chance of scoring a goal and a chance of scoring big. So Mason Mount. And then it would probably be between Cucurella and Shaw. I'll probably back Cucurella because it's probably the easiest fixture. I'll probably just go full Chelsea and then back both of them, but it's tough. You hedge your bets if you don't trust Chelsea, and then you could go Shaw and Mount. I'd probably say that Cucurella, Shaw, and Mount are the 3. Still really like Ben White, and obviously Arsenal defence is good. But yeah, for me, I think that's how I would play it. But yeah, good question. It's a good problem to have. And then WB, translating the Chelsea defender or Shaw, or just start White. I'll just start White. I'm just starting White. I'm leaving Reece James on my bench, and then I'll just dispose of him either next week or in game week 20. Yeah, for me, but Shaw does have a good fixture in game week 19, so you could do it now because you've got a good fixture in 18, 19, and potentially a double in 20. So it will pay itself back if you are taking a hit to do this. I think for this week, you can just play Ben White because if he concedes a goal, gets 2 points, might even get an assist because he is playing right back and he's been getting assists for Arsenal in games that they've conceded, but could also be a 1-0 sort of 2-0 Arsenal win. So I'd play Ben White. You've got to look at it as well. Obviously, Arsenal currently top of the table. If that was a Man City defender and they were top of the table, you'd pick the Man City player every time. So why would you then not pick the Arsenal player, right? So I would pick Ben White as opposed to transferring a player this week. And then I would deal with, I'm assuming you're removing Reece James, so I'd then deal with that on another game week. And then we'll quickly go to Bob's. Before we go to Garley's question, Bob did just say he's also got Hammeron and Darwin, so he's obviously got a very strong squad for this week. Then Garley Bro just said, which 2 would you bench? White versus Cucurella, Nketiah versus Nunes. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I'd probably bench White over Cucurella. I know I just gave the spiel of Arsenal top of the league. They're probably going to be game 1-0, but I think when you're looking at them both as an FPL asset, you'd probably go Cucurella for this game week. But it's a tough one. But if I had Reece James not injured, I'd play Reece James over Ben White. So, yeah, and then Nketiah versus Nunes, another tough one. Arsenal are top of the league, but Liverpool are at Anfield, Leicester let 3 goals in last week. Nunes had a lot of chances against Villa. Nunes should have scored at least 2 goals in that game. And it's getting to the point now where he is due another haul. He actually got a double-digit haul when he last played at Anfield for Liverpool against Southampton. So, yeah, I think he scores in the morning. I'd play Nunes over Nketiah for sure in that one, mate. So, yeah, good questions, though. But that is all the questions that have come in. So please continue to get your questions in now. It would be great to have some more questions. This is the live Q&A section part of the podcast. So please get your comments in. We do have quite a few watchers at the moment, which is awesome. So if you have just joined, please get your comments in. Like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new here, yeah, I'll wait and see if there's any more questions. Happy to quickly go through some more Reece James chat and replacements. I know I've got the video that's already released, which you can watch, but a couple of other points I can add to it as well is if you're not sure what to do with Reece James, just don't transfer him out. Just keep him on your bench. Like for me, for example, I just wanted to get rid of Zaha from my team. I was ready for Mount. I wanted him ready for game week 19. Reece James wasn't a problem anymore, so I've kept Reece James on the bench, and I'm playing Ben White, and then yeah, eventually I'll swap James probably for 4.5 million or 4 million defender or whatever needs to be, and use the money elsewhere. So I wouldn't stress too much about having to take out Reece James right now. I don't think it's the biggest deal. If you've got no other moves to make, and you don't have good bench options for Reece James, and you can probably transfer him out for the likes of the ones I mentioned, Dan Burn, Sven Botman, Robertson, if you've got the money to upgrade to Andrew Robertson as well. So plenty of good options there. But look, I will look to end this stream. It's been a quick one this week, less than half an hour. Last week it was an hour and a half. It was huge, but that was obviously the return for game week 17. That if we get any more questions in the next few minutes, I will stay on, take questions. All ready for the deadline. We are 4.5 hours away now, I think, from deadline. About 4 hours and 45 minutes. I think it's a 2:15 a.m. deadline here in Western Australia, and it would have been about 5:15 in Melbourne. So I probably would have watched these games live if I was still in Melbourne this weekend, because they were pretty good kickoff times. I think the Liverpool game was about 7 a.m. But yeah, the morning games here aren't so good, but the early games for the weekend are really, really good. So I'll be able to watch the Wolves Man United game tomorrow at about 8:30 p.m. And whatever other early games I have, I'll then be able to watch. So really excited for that. And we do have a comment, which is awesome, from Mo Cherry. Should I sell James? I have Bueno and Neco on the bench. I'm concerned they might both not start. Is this your only transfer for the week? So have you already made another transfer? Look, if it's your second transfer and you're on a -4, I would just play Bueno and hope that he starts and gets 2 points or more. You never know. Wolves might keep a clean sheet. I know Nori might start, so there's also that risk. But yeah, I'd probably play one of them. If it's just your first transfer, yeah, you can take him out. Plenty of options. Take him out, put someone else on. But if it's second one, do you really want to take a -4? If you're really confident in a clean sheet from Chelsea in that Nottingham Forest game, you could just do the sideways move to Cucurella, and then that will buy back the -4 if they keep the clean sheet anyway. So you've got a couple of options there, mate. But if you're not desperate to make the move, then you don't necessarily need to do it, in my opinion. But yeah, great stream. Thanks for everyone that tuned in. Really appreciate all the support. It doesn't look like we're going to get any more deadline questions. So yeah, please like the video, subscribe if you're new here. There will be another deadline stream prior to the game week 19 deadline, which is obviously, I think, Monday night here in in Australia, so I will be doing another live stream on Monday. So yeah, I'll probably try and get the message out a little bit early for the Monday night streams, then we can get more interaction and questions in the comments. Because the best thing about these streams is doing them live before deadline and going through everyone's questions. Last week we had, I think it was about 50, 60 questions coming in at one point at the end, and it was just brilliant. So yeah, that's one of the good things about doing these deadline streams. But yeah, sorry this week I left it a little bit to the last minute, but thanks for everyone that did come in and tune in. I really appreciate all the support. And yeah, look, if there is no more questions, I'll look to wrap up the stream. Good luck, everyone, for game week 18. Yeah, another exciting one, back-to-back game weeks, and a really good chance for you to start gaining some points, and get those green arrows with these quick turnarounds on the game weeks. Anyway, I'll see everyone in the next one. I'm FPL Matt Day, and good luck for game week 18. Thank you.